Well, you and Chris Tucker have always been super close.
Yes.
Were you friends with him when he was part of the Michael Jackson trial?
Yeah. I mean, yeah. I mean, that's like one of the biggest mistakes. I think that's why I go for Bill Cosby so hard, because Chris said, "Hey man, Michael wants you to come over there." I'm like, "Ain't he fucking kids and some shit?" It was the dumbest thing I ever said in my life. I sound stupid saying it. So Chris was like, "Man, he played with my kids." I was like, "Really?" Right? And they was hanging out. Him, Eddie Griffin, they was all hanging out.
Yeah, I interviewed Eddie Griffin as well about it. Yeah,
and it was one of the dumbest things I've ever done and said. Because I started watching the trial, and I was like, that motherfucker is innocent. He got to trial late.
Yeah. Well, Eddie Griffin told me that story. He drove, Michael went in his limo,
Yeah.
and there were so many people, they couldn't even get into the courtroom because there were so many people blocking their way.
Let me explain something to you. When you guilty, you at court before it opened.
Yeah.
You don't even want to be, when you guilty, a guilty man. You heard about that thing, guilty prisoners go to sleep. The innocent ones stay up. When you guilty, you are there before the doors open, coffee, looking, is this the right courtroom? Because you know, Michael was like, this is some bullshit.
Well,
when I saw him dance on top of the car, I said, oh no.
Well, that was after he won.
No, it was not.
No, it was after he won.
No, it was not.
Okay, maybe I'm wrong.
I know you're wrong.
Maybe I'm wrong. Okay.
It was the first day he got there with pajamas. I was like, he's innocent. I fucked up. I owe him an apology. And I was like, and I saw his brothers. You know, he got real brothers. Jermaine and them, they think they a joke. Tito them, they real. They will whoop your ass. You talking about a celebrity? You put them in the ring. They ain't bullshit. You think it's a game with them Jacksons? They not bullshit. They like real men. They like real tough men. They not bullshit.
I interviewed Tom Massaro, who was his lawyer.
Yeah.
Right. Tom said that the prosecution is a travesty of justice and one of the most mean-spirited attacks of an innocent person in legal history. You said that the prosecution is a travesty of justice and one of the most mean-spirited attacks on an innocent person in legal history.
That's how I feel about that case.
Yeah.
I think the way the prosecution constructed this case, the way they charged this case, the way they presented the case was an absolute travesty of justice. It was almost as if psychologically, because they were going after someone who was innocent, they went overboard trying to demonize and monsterize the defendant.
Yes.
All 14 charges were dropped.
Yes.
It was I believe 10 felonies and 4 misdemeanors. All of them dropped. And so I actually interviewed Tom Massaro and the private investigator who's in charge of all this.
Yes.
Who's in charge of Michael's case. And what they said was kind of interesting was that the family of the so-called victim, the mother had a history of scamming. And an immense history. She basically was caught stealing at JCPenney and then got $150,000 saying that the security guard sexually assaulted her.
Yeah.
And ripped her clothes and whatever.
Yeah.
Whereas but they showed the mugshot and her clothes are perfect. She was also doing welfare fraud. They found so much shit on her that she had to take the Fifth Amendment and not even testify because she would end up implicating herself in other crimes.
She sounds like my baby mama. What's her name?
But Chris Tucker actually took the stand in this trial.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I guess what had happened was the family said that something like Chris knew about it and knew about the molestation and was bringing the kids to Michael.
Yeah.
When the real story was that Chris was on his way to Florida on a private flight. The family, he became kind of cool with that family.
Yeah.
And they said, hey, Michael wants to see us. Could we tag along on your flight? And he's like, yeah, sure, go ahead. And they went to go find Michael in Florida, and Michael didn't even know they were coming. Nor did Chris know anything about this whole thing. The whole thing ended up being a scam.
It's a sham. All this shit is a sham, man.